Death penalty on trial, the Furman and Gregg cases. Hey everyone, today we're diving into one of the Supreme Court's rulings, how the death penalty was ruled unconstitutional in the Furman versus Georgia in 1972, only to be reinstated just 4 years later in Gregg versus Georgia. Furman versus Georgia background. William Furman, a burglar who accidentally shot and killed a homeowner, was fleeing the scene in 1967. Under Georgia law, this felony murder carried the possible death sentence. Furman's case was appealed to the Supreme Court with a question: isn't executing people for certain crimes constitute cruel and unusual punishment and hereby violating the Eighth Amendment? In 1972, a narrow 5-4 ruling put a freeze on all executions nationwide. The majority couldn't agree on why the death penalty was problematic, but they did agree on how the states were using the penalty and that it was indeed unconstitutional. The aftermath of this. After Furman, states wanted to keep the death penalty, so they rewrote their laws, and in this, they took one of two approaches. Some made the death penalty mandatory for certain crimes, while others created guided discretion systems with specific factors. 35 states had passed new death penalty statutes, setting up our next case. Gregg versus Georgia. Troy Leon Gregg, convicted of robbery and murdering two men who picked him up while hitchhiking in 1973. Georgia's new death penalty law included a separate sentencing phase with clear guidelines about when the death penalty was appropriate. The Supreme Court had decided did these new laws fix the problems identified in Furman? The Gregg's decision. In 1976, the court ruled 7-2 that Georgia's new death penalty statute was in fact constitutional. The court held the death penalty itself wasn't inherently cruel and unusual, therefore not violating the Eighth Amendment. With that ruling, executions were back on in America. Conclusion. The two cases transformed American capital punishment. After Gregg, states adopted similar guidelines, creating a modern death penalty system that we have today. The Constitution doesn't forbid the death penalty itself, but it does require it to be administered fairly. Today, the death penalty debates constitute the questions about racial disparities, innocence, and whether any system can truly be fair when mistakes can so easily be made. Thanks for watching.